Hey folks, it's us, podcasting wonderkins John Bishop and Lucas Southworth.
Although this is a podcast about cars, it is not age appropriate for the target demographic of these films, as we usually end up talking about the reproductive organs of Lightning McQueen.
Alright, now let's take a look under the hood.
Hello and welcome to the Chat, the only podcast brave enough to not have much material to actually work on other than one movie for a bit and then another movie for a bit and then another movie for a bit and then a TV show years after. Hey, what's up with cars? I'm John Bishop.
And I'm Lucas Southworth, and what John's trying to say is, folks, it happened. They did it.
They did it. They did the thing.
Yeah, we are... I don't know if I'm going to divide my life into two sections, but at the very least, we can divide the podcast into two distinct sections now, right? Sort of a B COTR and an A COTR, you know?
Well, weirdly enough, one of them has to be defined by it, but the other one has to not be defined by it.
Okay, speak on that.
Well, there's before Christ, and then there's
Sure.
Anno Domini, which
Sure.
is not after death, which most people think it is. Now, what does Anno Domini mean? I forgot. It was 6th grade when I learned it.
Yes, but importantly, the acronyms I said stand for before Cars on the Road and after Cars on the Road, because Cars on the Road is out, and we watched it. We watched all of it. We thought about maybe restraining ourselves and going just one a week and drip feeding it to ourselves, and then after ourselves, then you. But no, we watched all of it because we couldn't not do that.
Anno Domini does, of course, mean our Lord. So, they're both the same. Yeah, they both are defined by Jesus.
True. But yeah, we watch Cars on the Road, and we got just so much to talk about, folks. We are going to do episode by episode breakdown over the course of the next, 2.5 months or so, John. That sounds about right to you?
Maybe
But
just 2 months.
maybe just 2 months. We'll see. But this week we are we're doing a flyover. We are committed to just giving some general conversation, general thoughts on it, and saving the big juicy stuff for the full episodes.
Just general structure. You want to be like, okay, let's go over each episode, yada yada. But here's something I need to talk about. What do you think? And I need you to not look at anything in case you are looking at things.
Sure.
What do you think the names of the episodes are?
I have bad news in that I did look at this beforehand, but it was like an hour or two ago, so I may not get all of them. You ready for
Okay.
me to try it?
Yep.
Dinosaur Park was the first one. The second one was the Haunted House one. I want to say maybe Lights Out or something. That feels wrong, though. Third one was we're going to talk a lot about the third one. The third one was Salt Fever, I want to say, where they're in the desert doing top speed races. Fourth one was, I think that's the one with Ivy, the Bigfoot, but isn't a Bigfoot. So I think that one's the Legend. Fifth one is when they take Ivy to the circus. That one is Showtime. Sixth one is, let's see, is there one before B Movie? Because it's B Movie.
Do you want
Which
me
one
to
am I
tell you the
forgetting?
answer to that?
No, I'm forgetting one. Oh, Trucks. How could
Yep.
I forget Trucks? They said it 100 times. Gosh, we're going to talk about that one.
Trucks.
I want you to know I considered opening the episode by just chanting Trucks, but maybe we'll do that when we get to the episode about that episode. After that is B Movie, where they're on the movie set. Then after that is it's the Mad Max one, Road Rumblers, I want to say. The last one is Mater's sister's wedding, which is Getting Hitched.
All right. Now here's a little bit of trivia for you.
Uh-huh.
If you go on Google and you look at the episode lists, here is, in order, the name of the episodes. Episode 1,
Ah,
Lights Out.
that's not true.
Salt Fever. Episode 4.
No, that's all right.
Episode 5.
Okay,
Episode 6.
sure.
B Movie.
Yeah, okay.
Episode 8. Episode 9.
That is a very funny thing, and I'm glad you've looked it up. I would like a bit more credit for pulling all the episode titles in order off the top of my dome. I even got the ones I wasn't sure I got.
Yeah, so I was gonna make a joke because like you got them all right, I'm pretty sure. From what I remember, that all sounds right. But according to this list,
According to
you were
Google.
confident about the episode 1, but it's actually named episode 1, and then you were
Yeah.
confident that Lights Out was wrong and it was right.
Well, what are you going to do? But I did get them all right. I just checked. I got them all right in the perfect order. I have the perfect mind.
Hey,
to-
you almost skipped Trucks.
I did almost skip Trucks, and I would have been devastated.
Mhm.
John, I would have been devastated.
Which, yeah, you did not skip Trucks. You knew that something was wrong.
I'm not sure even how much I want to get into like plot summarizing, because like again, this is going to be the next two to 3 months of the podcast. I'd say probably around 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
You should really watch these.
Yep.
They're 10 minutes long each. You could do it before the respective episode about that episode each time.
Mm-hmm.
But if you've got access to Disney Plus, probably watch them, or the next 2 months aren't going to be the best listening of the podcast for you.
Yep. All right. So I want us to do our best, very short summary of each of the episodes.
Okay, I want us to keep it as high level as possible. We can chip in with like, man, we're going to talk about that, but we can't actually talk about them in this plot summary, or this will be the whole episode, and I won't have that. Got it?
Yep.
You want to start?
All right. So the first one is the setup for the entire show, and then perhaps the most disappointing thing for me in the entire series.
Yeah.
But it is, in fact, an educational episode.
Yeah.
A faux educational episode.
Yeah, they set it up as if in the trailer as if they were going to go back in time, but it is all a dream sequence. But there's still quite a lot we can talk about the fact that dinosaur cars existed, period. And folks, spoiler, they do. And they do.
And also, Lightning McQueen is a nerd.
Yeah, he's a huge nerd, man. He was a huge nerd in that episode. But then the second one, man, gosh, that's the haunted house episode. And
they were weirdly explicit about it because they gave themselves room to be like, nah, he was just having a nightmare.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they were like, nope.
I got so worried that it was going to be another dream sequence, and I was going to come in pretty hot if they made the first 2 episodes, if they retconned the first 2 episodes with dream sequences. But
if
no,
they straight up made every single episode a dream sequence, I would be honestly very mad, and also I would respect it so much.
yeah, if they committed so much that every episode is a dream sequence, there's something about that I respect. But if they had just made those first 2, no. But no, they go stay at a hotel, and it's ultra haunted. Several explicit references to The Shining. Direct
it's just
references.
The Shining.
And we're going to talk about him. There's a demon who sings, and I don't know what his whole deal is, because he's not a ghost. He's who we thought was Mater, but he's not. It's not Mater. It's just a demon.
Yeah, and even weirder than he sings, if you have the subtitles on, I think it's just flaps lips, because he does a lot.
He does do that. He's sort of hyping himself up. Yeah, they're just more. We knew ghosts were a thing, but there are lots more different spooky stuff happened in this one, so that one should be fun.
And there are people who just casually are like friends with them.
Yeah, that's going to be a big part of that episode. Then there's the third episode, John, which going into it, as it was going on, I was like, this one's going to be pretty boring, huh? And then,
All right, I want to say a thing, and then we're going to move on to the next episode. It's the one where Mater dies.
I want to expand on it just a little bit.
We
It's
can't give any context.
I'm not giving context. I am making people want to watch this even more by saying it's the one where Mater dies and has a lengthy conversation with explicitly the Cars Grim Reaper.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yep.
so you gotta watch it, folks. I don't know, man. I think I was sitting by Liz and I just started gripping her hand really tight during that part. Just subconsciously, I think. I didn't notice I was doing it until she said, "Hey, could you stop?" And I went, "Oh gosh, I'm sorry." Just I don't know. You got to watch it. But
Yep.
as we said, we're moving on to the fourth one, which is the
The one
Bigfoot
where they
one.
introduce another major character throughout the series.
Yeah, who's Ivy was kind of weird, I
Yep.
felt. We're definitely going to get into just general thoughts about how successful it is this episode, right? Not right now, but
Mm-hmm.
but
I want to describe this in a misleading way.
yeah,
An ex-gladiator
yeah,
tries to move on with their life and is hunted daily until they manage to force a celebrity to chase people off for her.
good enough for me. And then going into the next one, the gladiator joins a circus. Lightning's
Mm-hmm.
afraid of clowns. That's the two big points of this one.
He's afraid of clowns, and from what I saw, has every reason to be.
Yeah, they're terrifying. I was fully on board with Lightning. I was like, yeah, man,
It's
I'm a
okay,
bit
they're
afraid
far
too.
away, and then there's just, for no reason, and it's never expounded on, one directly behind him smiling creepily.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Gosh, that one I thought, man, there's not going to be much to talk about, but there's so much to talk about even with that one.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's drugs.
Trucks, 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 trucks. So good.
You remember, folks, when I was like, guys, I think there's going to be a musical episode of this one based on the trailer, and you all laughed. I wasn't there with you, but I could feel it. I could feel you all
Remember when
thinking,
I heard him say that, and my exact words are, Lucas, that is so stupid, that would never happen in a million years. I can't believe you would even suggest that. Yeah, well, I have egg on my face because they did
"Don't."
it.
They did do it. There's a weird truck cult, and I imagine most of that episode, once we get to it, like 3 weeks, 6 weeks from now, is going to be deciding how much of it actually happened. Would you agree?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, of the visuals, at least,
I mean, I would go further than just the visuals.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I could say the singing definitely happened. The visuals, I'm not sure
At
about
least some of the singing did definitely happen.
for sure. But yeah, there's a weird truck cult. Sorry. Then B movie, which is I'm gonna go ahead and there's definitely material there. Would you say that's maybe our least material episode besides maybe the last one?
I'd say it technically has more material than, say, the dinosaur episode. Again, just because it actually did happen.
That's true, but like the dinosaur episode at least confirms, hey, here are dinosaurs. Here's what they looked like. Here are several different kinds of them. Here's what cavemen looked like, etc.
And they did live 50 million years apart.
Yeah. So, and I think there's stuff to talk about with the B movie episode, particularly the giant brains coming
Mhm.
out of
That were
the
just
fake.
so jiggly the whole time.
Yeah, the fake zombies, but that means they know what brains are. So we'll get into that. What's after that one? Mad Max?
Yep.
That one felt. They all felt weird. That one felt particularly like not weird in like the Cars Grim Reaper is here, but just weird in like this all feels stupid.
It
kind of.
it was very like, oh, we wanted to have a message, so we made an episode, and I guess we could theme it after, like, the message is fighting with your friends. So what if it's fighting? What movies have fighting in them? I
Yeah.
don't know. Mad Max.
No, John. Importantly, what movies have fighting and cool weird cars? Is what they asked.
Ah, yep. So they did a Mad Max episode, and they did a don't fight with your friends because sometimes the friendship is more valuable. And they mixed them together in a way that didn't feel right and was real weird. It feels like it definitely should have been longer.
Yeah, I could say that universally about these, but we'll get into that.
Some of them
Definitely.
felt like the right length.
Yeah,
I
I'll
would say
admit
this
that.
one to me felt like the wrong length, like
Yeah,
the most.
that's fair. I'll agree with that. And then, folks, we met her. Good old Mato.
It's actually Mato,
Mato, sorry. You're right. I
as
watched
in
these 2 days ago.
Tomato.
But without the ta, yes, Mater's sister has the same naming convention as Mater. Also, Mato is marrying someone named Mateo, who is Cruz Ramirez's cousin.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
And then you hear the statement, that means we're kind of like family. No, that means you are family.
yeah, like the in-laws of your in-law, like the siblings of your in-laws, like I feel like you don't fully interact with as much
Mm-hmm.
as direct family, but no, they have a familial link definitely now.
Yep.
Also, one of the bigger reveals for me, Mater's Mater grew up filthy rich.
Yeah. He came from privilege, and it's just weird because like the whole time I'm thinking, but why does he look like that? And it's he just does not take care of himself.
Yeah, I think it's just sort of how he chooses to carry himself and to look. But yeah, I was kind of like, huh, a little weird.
Also,
But
weird thing to think about. His sister is his older sister, meaning that she's a fairly old car.
yeah, especially for yeah,
Someone who can climb a tree in 3 seconds.
yeah, yeah. That one both feels full of lore and not very full of lore, you know?
Mm-hmm. She does, in fact, have separate teeth.
And I don't know if you caught this, her paint job is the same
Blue.
color as Mater's original paint job.
Yep. That was something I was thinking about because, like, I was wanting to bring that up like seconds ago when I was like, it's because he doesn't take care of himself. Because, yeah, she is the color that he should be.
But we're burning material, folks. We got to talk about this all again in 9 weeks from now. Let's just leave it at that. 61 days from now, as a matter of fact. I just did that math and it was correct, I think. No, 63 days from now. I did it poorly, but then I did it right. 63 days from now is when we'll do that episode. But we're doing this episode right now instead.
All right. So, we have summarized all the episodes, thoughts and feelings.
Overall, I enjoyed it. I was not like, wow, what an incredible thing they've made. They've truly made Cars art. And I was not like, ooh, this is a chore. But yeah, it was fine. like okay. Lucas, the person who appreciates art and like entertainment, was like, whatever. Lucas, the podcast host who has to talk about this for a long time, was going, yes, yes, the whole time, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. That sound about
That's a very accurate representation of how I felt. It was like, if you really like Cars, absolutely,
yeah.
this is a great, like, easy to recommend. If you don't, probably don't watch this.
Yeah, like it didn't really feel like a show to me
Mm-hmm.
almost. If and I mean it was a series of shorts, but it was billed as a show, and like
And it was definitely like a higher attempt than like Mater's Tall Tales.
yeah, like I would agree with that fully. Like it was elevated above those in terms of the amount of effort and story planning put into them because they do weave together into like a semi-coherent little story, but like I think that's what I was saying when I was like, overall, I wanted them to be longer, not just for, Lucas, the podcast host, who wants every second of Cars media to be more of them. But like, it wasn't even that some episodes felt short to me. Besides, I will agree, the Mad Max one. It was just like, if you padded these a bit more on either side, you could string them together a lot easier. You could add in some more like character arc, like at the beginning of the Mad Max one, Lightning and Mater are suddenly at each other's throats.
Mm-hmm.
they are fighting. And like with a bit more time on B movie or something, you could add in like the beginnings of that or something. It doesn't have to
You
be
could
exactly
give
that.
any amount of context for the two warring factions. You could
Yes.
even, I don't know, show the other warring faction before the fight.
That was what felt so weird about it for me. Yes, thank you for quantifying it.
Yeah, it was just, oh, there's a group in the wilderness that's just a bunch of crazy people who used to be, I guess, people who liked crafting. And then they find these two and they decide we're going to make you kill each other. And then there's a war. And then they're drinking sippy drinks. And that's the whole episode. Like, if you feel like I haven't explained anything, I've explained pretty much everything.
Yeah, he has. Another thing is like they didn't fully commit to making Ivy like a big character. They
Yeah.
like half committed to it,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
It felt like she was supposed to be bigger than she was. And I feel like the only reason she wasn't is because they were all, I'm going to do air quotes that you can't see, 12-minute episodes.
Yeah, give or take.
They were like 7 or 8 minutes, and then another third of the show was just credits.
Yeah,
In
true.
grand Marvel tradition.
In grand Disney Plus tradition, yeah.
Oh no, I'm positing that these are definitely Marvel movies.
Ooh, okay. Can't get into that. But like I feel like if they had like they could have really committed to Ivy and like put her episode first or second, and then have her there for the road trip, and maybe drop her off at the circus episode 8.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to swap it a ton, I don't think, but just, have her comment on some stuff. She can fade to the background for some episodes, she can be more prominent for others, but it seemed like she was who they wanted people to be like, ah, yeah, Ivy was that new character who like was really cool in this one, and she had a big part, but she really didn't when it comes down to it. I don't know. It was fine. Again, if you listen to this podcast, I would recommend watching it, so you have context for the next little while. But in terms of recommending it to like friends and family, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
It's going to. Let me
okay.
tell you, it's going to be more fun to do what I'm going to do, which is not tell friends and family to watch it, but tell them, yeah, the Cars Grim Reaper shows up. It's explicitly that. There's no other interpretation. Or yeah, there's a demon for a while. Or oh yeah, there's a full musical episode. And like just drop these little tidbits. That'll be way more fun.
Okay, so very much agree. It's just you can say some of the wild things that happen, and it's just like, oh, now I have to watch this absurd thing. Like, if you're more misleading, maybe it's better, but maybe it's worse. Like, hey, what about the one where Mater's the president for a bit?
That's true. Yeah. I almost see it less as trying to trick them into watching it, although that would be very funny, and I'm not saying not to do that. And more like, oh yeah, the big thing you need to know: Cars Grim Reaper, baby.
Yeah. Cars Grim Reaper confirmed. Also, ghosts apparently commonplace, and Mater does die.
Great. We haven't even talked about the fact that they open Mater's door.
Yeah. They confirm that the way to a man's heart is, in fact, through his door.
Oh man, but if we start talking about that, we're going to keep talking about that. I have I guess I'd call it a segment, if you want to do a segment.
Let's do a segment.
So I collect diecasts, John.
Yeah, do you have it?
I do not have any of the diecasts. But what
Okay.
I want to do is I pulled out some characters from the show. I'm just going to do a blanket assumption. Every character who's in the show will get a diecast at some point, because that just seems to be what they do with the little diecast toys.
I don't know about every, because there were a lot of characters, and some of them were less interesting.
That's fair, but they make some pretty boring diecasts too. But if you're new to the show, I do collect the little Cars diecast toys, but only ones that have vast implications on the Cars universe. So the Pope Mobile, the car that can transform into a plane, Celine Fair, the car whose eyes are in her headlights, the Easter buggy, who canonically exists, a hearse, etc. So I just want to go through, and I want to say the character, and I want you to help me decide whether you think they are weird enough for my collection or not. And if you want to go gut feelings, if one's like, oh, of course not, just say no. We don't have to talk about it too much.
All right. I'm guessing you have their names. I would like you to say the names, and I have to at first guess who they are.
John, you assume too much because
Okay.
uh, the first two are Big Tyrannosaurus Thing and Bigger Tyrannosaurus Thing.
The bigger one, yes. The not as big one, no.
Yeah, you got 8. What about any of the other dinos, the more car-sized dinos that would maybe fit spatially better with my collection, but aren't as show-stopping?
I think anything with like okay, so I want to say 4 wheels, but even the Tyrannosauruses have 4 wheels. It's just only 2 are actually on the ground.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna say anything with 4 wheels on the ground is a no.
Okay, that's fair. What about Cave Lightning or Cave Mater?
No, because they are in fact fictional,
I
even
don't.
within canon.
That's fair, and I get that. I may end up getting Cave Lightning just because he looks funky.
Yeah,
Uh, and then, okay, in the haunted house,
it's like the
uh,
same as Darth Mater.
yeah, that's yeah. Which thank you by the way for Darth Mater. That's a new addition to Lucas's diecast corner that John gave me. If I never thanked you on the air for that,
You have, and I appreciate it again.
hell yeah. Lights out. Any of the ghosts are going to be obviously yes. You know,
Hmm. In fact, one of them, which again I don't know if it's a ghost or not, I think you need to get, and that is of course the weird demon guy who.
yeah, the singing demons at the top of the list for sure.
Yeah.
And I don't think we need to go into that one anymore. There's an obvious one that is on the top of the list and is going to be on the top of the list, and that's the Speed Demon, which is the actual name of the car's Grim Reaper.
Yes.
Like that one, I need to get yesterday. I need
And
it
I
right
think
now.
there's a weird implication that the Speed Demon / Grim Reaper exclusively is the collector of souls that went real fast.
It could be. We'll have to examine that a little bit. But besides the Speed Demon, what do you think about any of like the top speed designed cars, like the ultra long car that was weird?
Ultra long is great.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would prefer that you get one of the weird, this is clearly built for speed, or if I would just want you to get specifically any of the people with blowtorches, or the guy whose whole job is pushing the other vehicles.
I didn't think about him. He is pretty good.
His
He's
whole
pretty
thing is
good.
I move other vehicles, but I don't tow them because they have to go fast.
Now, what about Jet Mater? Is he anything?
Jet
I,
Mater's great, but the problem is he's just Mater with jets.
yeah. The only reason he got on there is that's how Mater died. It's
Mhm.
why I was maybe considering him more than Mater with jets. But I agree.
Now, Lucas, I've already suggested this once, and I'll suggest it again. But if you can have a diecast of a character being torn asunder, please get that.
John,
If you could get Lightning middle of the rolling and getting torn apart, if you can get Mater as he is being torn asunder from the jet, absolutely.
that's fair. And if I can, you don't even have to tell me that. Uh, I don't think Ivy's actually weird enough to get a diecast of. Maybe the one of her, if there's one of her with moss growing on her,
Hmm.
but I don't know. What do you think?
I think yes, because she is essentially a canonical Bigfoot.
That's fair. Yeah.
Because she is a creature that lives in the woods and is elusive, has been blurry photographied, and is being hunted by cryptid hunters,
Okay. Yeah, that's a
even
good
if
point.
she is just a person.
I think that's a really good point, actually. Okay. I don't really want the Bigfoot hunters. This one, okay. What about Lightning with the sheet draped over him with alien eyes drawn on it? Less because the implications and more because it'd be very funny if I owned that.
I think great for funny, but not for lore implications.
For sure, for sure. Okay, going to the circus. I don't know how they would represent this, but the car that had a bunch of cars in its trunk, if they represent it in a way that that's obviously what it is.
We
For
have
sure, right?
already seen a clown car is confirmed. I think that if you can't get one of the absurd ones, like the forklift that can lift any amount of weight, or the can compress other cars to an infinitely small space, I think go for those. But if you can't, just as long as you get a clown car, because they're all magical.
Yeah, and also I want either one of the clown cars with a nose or Lightning with a nose pushed on him, just because noses aren't real.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
then for trucks, I just wrote trucks, 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 trucks. So yeah, obviously I need every single truck
Mm-hmm.
from that
You
one.
now have to get every single diecast truck ever made.
Oh well, it's a truck thing. What can I say? The thing
Boy.
is, and we'll get into it more, it does kind of go hard a little bit, John.
Mm-hmm.
The song
really
goes
does.
in. Then B movie, I only have 2 listed. The zombie extras, I think, are a no-brainer, if you will.
A big brainer. It's a big brain move.
But then, what do you think about the writer forklift who is typing on a laptop?
I think he's a good character. I don't know if he does much for lore,
Just the fact that
because he's just a writer in this world that doesn't make sense.
yeah, but like the fact that he's able to be dexterous enough with his forks to type on a laptop, I think that's something, but I think you're right that it's not quite there.
Mm-hmm.
And Mad Max, I think I got my pick of the litter from Mad Max, including both Mad Max Mater and Lightning.
Yep. In which apparently grafted onto Lightning is an actual beard.
Great. But I think my white whale, if you would, from that one would be the leader of the Mad Max cars who just gets carried around by 4 smaller cars. Yeah.
Now, do you think that one comes with all 5 cars?
If it doesn't, then I wouldn't get it, is what I'd say.
Yeah, fair.
And then for
Fortunately, one of our predictions or one of our thoughts did not come true. It is just a person being carried by people and not one person grafted onto 4 others.
honestly, John, honestly, I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah. I get that, but also the horror, it would have been too much for me.
Yeah, whatever. And then this was the biggest question mark for me, John. Just motto in general.
Well, I think yes, because it says a lot about the world in an official sense. Mater, in fact, did grow up very, very wealthy. That's crazy to me.
Yeah.
But also, I think if we're going with our canon,
Mm-hmm.
you have to have the sibling of the demigod or maybe god king, whatever
Sure.
we are deciding. God King Mater has a sister who can beat him more times than not.
Man, I didn't even think about the implications of her being more powerful than Mater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that seals it for me. Okay. So I want to go through and just list in order what I think the top 5 priorities are. And we'll just decide, you'll help me decide if I need to move it around a little bit, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Off the top of my head, Speed Demon's number 1.
Absolutely.
Easily.
That's just death.
Yeah, the Grim Reaper's in it, sorry. Then I'm thinking the singing demon thing from Lights Out, the Haunted House.
That is definitely a preference for me. I don't know if you need a demon and then another demon.
But they're different kinds of demons, John. One's benevolent.
Very much so. Very different kinds of demons.
Yeah. and imply lots of different things. Then I would say, I don't know if they can or would make a diecast of the Tyrannosaurus, but like if they do, I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's
Yeah.
a big car dinosaur.
I mean, like, if you want to be snarky about it, which oftentimes I find that I do,
Sure.
there is the whole response of, I mean, Dino Trucks is another show and it's a kids show, so of course they have toys.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. And then after that, my thoughts are if we discount the ghosts, if we sort of lump in the ghosts with the singing demon, I'm between, for the last two spots, the ultra long car from the desert, the zombie extras and their exposed brains, and Mato. What do you think?
Hmm. I think Mato just because God King made her.
Yeah, yeah,
If not for God King Mater, then not Mato.
yeah.
I love Zombie Extra. It's just because like it's so goofy and it doesn't like do much for lore or anything,
Does a
but
little bit.
it does a little bit, and also it's got a jiggle head.
Man, if its head doesn't jiggle on the diecast, I am going back to Target. I'll tell you that much.
And you are throwing the most well-earned fit ever.
Yeah, and I mean they deserve it. The workers at Target are the one who made that decision.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the ultra long car is very funny, and I think I trend towards actual lore implied over our lore supported. If that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. So I think Mato is just edged out by the zombie extras and the ultra long car.
Yeah, I do like ultra long car just because, like, I mean, what else is that? It's just a car that's super long, and all it is built for speed. We
Yeah,
have character who famously says, "I am speed."
no, he's not.
He's not. There are cars built for speed, and he's not one of them.
There's also a demon who goes by Speed Demon, so
Mm-hmm.
he's definitely not. And also, if no for no other reason, that one would be very funny to me because of the storage issues it would cause, the
Yep,
display
yep.
and storage issues.
You just have to extend your desk.
Sorry, don't know what else I could do. Okay, yeah, I think I've got a good wish list going, and I know, John, I know the Speed Demon. They did make one because we talked about her
Mm-hmm.
in a few episodes ago. Oh, why would they do that? We can't. I can't fall into it, John. We can't fall into it.
I think you have to fall into it.
Let's fall into it, but in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Why would they make the Speed Demon? But why did they make this at all? Would you say? Why did they feel the need to expand the cars first? And our first answer is obviously going to be money, and that's the correct answer.
Yes, the answer is because money.
Yes. But is there
Uh,
anything deeper than that?
because they felt the world wasn't rounded out enough. You need to add more characters, you need to add more grit, you need to add more just so it feels like a fleshed out world. And what makes the world feel fleshed out more than a wedding, a circus? And also the fact that ghosts are definitely real, and even if you doubted it because it was only in one special, we're confirming it. They're real. They're real. Ghosts are real.
That's what gets me so much about that episode is they could have had ghosts be a one-time thing shown for 2 seconds at the end of Radiator Springs 500 and a half. They could have just had us know, that
Mm-hmm.
ghosts are real, but they said not enough people watched Radiator Springs 500 and a half.
They're okay. So like the people who made cars, they know what they're doing. They're making people go crazy or like, but they're cars. This doesn't make sense. Their world is inconsistent, and I don't get it. And then they were like, yeah, that's hilarious. What if we added ghosts to it just to mess with them? And then not enough people noticed. And they were like, why aren't people freaking out over these ghost cars? This is a big deal. Oh, they probably just didn't see it. Let's make more ghost cars.
Yeah, like I was just thinking something similar of like the people at Pixar have to know the dumb jokes the internet makes
Mm-hmm.
about realizing that Cars World War II happened or the Pope Mobile exists. So they have to be aware of it because it's a huge meme. So they could have used this to make the Cars world just more consistent, more grounded, like really do a character study on these guys as they go across country and deepen their friendship. But those crazy people at Pixar decided no. You think it was weird before? Wait until Mater dies, idiot.
Hey, you remember The Shining? No, you're a child? Well, this is The Shining. You'll get it later.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just so wild to me. I'm again. It feels weird to feel two such distinct two different ways about this series
Mm-hmm.
because like my immediate reaction was, oh my gosh, this is incredible. This is going to really just inject a lot of life into the podcast, not to mention just have a lot of fun conversations to have with John. But then at the same time, the other half of me was like, yeah, it's fine. Spend an hour and a half watching that. Okay, whatever. I've watched worse, I guess.
Yeah. It wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. It was fine. But did give me an idea of something we can do here, John.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we think this sits if we rank all of the movies, both Planes movies, Mater's Tall Tales, and I guess just the rest of the cartoons, Cars tunes, with Mater's Tall Tales or as their own thing? What do you think?
With Mater's Tall Tales.
Okay. So, I don't know. Where does this sit for you?
This is tied for second with Cars 3.
Yeah, I would say it's the same, but tied for second with Cars 2 for me.
Okay.
Because this actually reminded me a lot of Cars 2 in the way of like, who cares, man?
Let's just
Get silly with it.
let's put him in a movie. Yeah, we already did that. No, like in the show, they're in a movie. I don't. Why not just make another movie? No, we're making a show, and in the show, they're gonna be in a movie. Except, nah, scrap that. They're not gonna be in a movie. What? You'll get it later.
In the same way, the writers of Cars 2 were like, man, I like spy movies. The writers of at least one Cars on the Road episode said, man, I like Mad Max. And just said, what if we did that, but Mater's there?
It's seriously, it's a show. It's like, hey, what if every show we just did a different genre, except it's Cars?
That's Community, is what that is. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And I think it's the Cars. The issue I have with Cars 3 is it tries so hard to have an important message and doesn't work. Planes 1 and 2 are just bad. Sorry. And then Mater's Tall Tales. It's so crazy to me, John, that this makes Mater's Tall Tales look a little tame. Almost. Like they're not. Mater
They're not.
is basic. Mater can fly in one of them just for no reason, and he travels through time in another one. And it's just the recency bias, and I know that, but I'm just
there's also like a stronger feeling of, yeah, this one is for sure canon.
Yes, that's like they do the little bits at the end of each Mater's Tall Tale where they're like, oh, but did it actually happen? Which we have interpreted as, yes, it did.
Because they always give like a little bit of evidence.
Yeah, and we're like, what kind of podcast would this be if we were like, I guess we can't count that. But this one just, all of this just explicitly happened.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's not framed in the same way at all. The other one's framed as, oh, here's a story I'm going to tell you. Wasn't that a crazy story? Well, it was real. Wink. But this one is, you see the events happen. The only one that they're like, nah, that's too crazy, is the one with dinosaurs.
I don't know, man. I just don't know. What more do we have to say that isn't just diving into an episode? Are you struggling with that a bit too?
Telling myself, do not go too deep into the paint is rough.
Yeah.
One thing I do want to say is generally, The safety in this world does not exist.
It's so bad.
Mater nearly dies because he bumps into something without any sort of railing around it to prevent that from happening. He bumps into a dinosaur, and it actually nearly crushes him to death.
Yeah, and did it bother you how often they were driving side by side on like a 2-lane road?
Yeah, except what was worse for me is that it looked like a one-lane road. There
Yeah,
weren't
yeah.
lines.
Yeah, and like in a world where everyone is cars, that's bad,
Yeah,
right?
they even joke about it in the Ghost episode because Lightning is stuck in a hallway because it's built for one direction of travel.
Which, man, pretty good gag. Uh,
Yep,
one of my that got maybe the most genuine laugh out of me of the whole thing.
it
Uh,
was pretty great.
yeah, but yeah, just stuff like that. I guess we could go into like
How
maybe like
weird, like, did it make you really uncomfortable that the suggestion of, oh, we can just have Mac drive us and it'll be great? I don't know why,
yeah,
but the idea of, oh, here's my guy. He transports me for racing events because they don't want me like getting worn out before a race. I'm just gonna have him road trip me across the country with my friend Mater just cause.
yeah. Not to mention, it wasn't. We can ask Mac if he'll give us a lift. It was just Mac will do it. Like
Yes,
Mac
my
didn't have a
manservant
choice.
Mac.
Yeah, I think that's good. This is a good way to get around it. Just overall implications of a cross country road trip,
Hmm.
etc. But yeah, that did strike me as weird. I mean, and it's shown explicitly that Lightning's relationship with Mac has improved. But like that seemed like Cars 1 Lightning to me.
Yeah, and better and worse. Lightning and Mater, their relationship throughout this is kind of stuck in that halfway in Cars 1 thing. One thing that bothers me is that
Yes,
every single person says, "You have a sister?" What? He says it.
he
He
does.
says it just casually in the first movie. That's just been established. All right, so that's frustrating. And then Lightning and Mater, a fight occasionally, yada yada. They get frustrated. They have to learn to deal with each other's eccentricities and whatnot. Lightning has to accept the fact that he's not good at something, and then Mater has like that moment of, "You're good at everything. Can't you just, I don't know, be humble about one thing?" So that was a little like, oh, he's still got growing to do. And then, of course, there was one moment that just like really drove it home of, even though Lightning had a good time the whole time, he still didn't have a good time.
Yeah, like it felt like it was the third time Lightning was learning the lesson of Mater's a cool guy who is my friend and I should treat him like a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Like he learns it in Cars 1, he relearns it in Cars 2. Mater's barely in Cars 3, so he doesn't do it there. But then he had to relearn it here too and like at the end you're right, when they got to the wedding he's like, it was. I had a good time with Mater, but man, I would not do it again. We are flying home.
And he only changes his mind because of an inspiring speech.
Yeah, like that. I would say that that general feeling is a knock against it. Just quality wise, of like, come on, how many times do we have to develop Lightning's character in the exact same way?
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Which,
Not to
like,
mention Mater's character in the exact same way.
if we're being realistic, that one of the problems with that is that it is too true. Like, you go on a road trip, it's gonna test your friendships.
For
You
sure.
go on a road trip, even if you're excited about it to begin with, your average person is gonna not want to do it again, not for a while.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole, we have to go back now. So the frustrating part about all this complaint is that it's a valid complaint for a movie, but it's also like a realistic thing that they included in the show.
Yeah, yeah. And like you're absolutely right. It was realistic, but like I don't know. This is a show for entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
tread new ground with it.
Yep. Don't tell the same story over and over again.
With just a different wrapping, very different wrapping, I would
Mm-hmm.
say. But is there anything more about just the mechanics of a multi-day road trip that felt off or like had implications, would you say? Because they
Lightning
went,
said, if we just drive at top speed, we'll be there in a day and a half. In episode like 3.
yeah, they started from Arizona. That's where Radiator Springs is, and they went to the East Coast, if I remember right, somewhere.
That sounds right, but also for some reason I want to say they went to Georgia because that's what that. This is not what it was,
Felt
but
like a
this is what it felt
plantation.
like. Plantation.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
She felt like a Southern belle on a plantation.
Yeah, yeah. So like, yeah, I don't know. That just struck me, and I guess that's true. If you just drive almost nonstop at full speed, you can get across the United States in, I don't know, 36 hours, 48 hours. But that's not really how road trips do.
Mm-hmm. There is the whole for them that would be sprinting for, let's say, 36 hours in a row, which
Yeah,
I don't know if you know this, but humans can't sprint for that long.
maybe other humans. I'm built different.
Well, the thing is, the like long distance run fast people, uh, 26 miles in 2 hours, and then they like nearly die.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, few more general things, general thoughts. How about that theme song? Would you?
Cars on the road.
Yeah, it was catchy. It was fine.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it was.
It
It
wasn't too long. It was nice. It was clearly made for the show.
it it worked so well that I feel like if there had been one more episode, I would have started thinking, okay, I'm getting a little tired of this. Uh, but for the 9 episodes I heard it, I was like, yeah, a little catchy, sure.
All right. Now, confession time, Lucas.
Yeah,
I got to episode like 3 or 4, and then I noticed that during the credits, there's a mid-credit scene.
yeah, there are several. That's an important thing to mention because I imagine several people will listen to this and hopefully be inspired to watch through. I don't know
Mhm.
if every episode has a credits gag, but
I'm
most
pretty
of
sure
them
at least
do.
one didn't.
Yeah.
Because after I started watching them, I did find one that was just, oh, there's the Pixar thing.
So yeah, that's fair. Okay. Oh, one more disappointment to me for
Mm-hmm.
this. This promised returning old friends, and outside the citizens of Radiator Springs, it was Cruz.
It was Cruz.
That was it. That was it. Like it's
Citizens of Radiator Springs were in it.
yeah,
Yep. They're returning friends.
and they were in it for, I don't know, 45 seconds, maybe at
Yeah.
best.
Yeah. It was something. And there was Cruz and Lightning and Mater
Mater. Yeah, 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 yeah. Uh,
and
Mato's been mentioned, as we've mentioned several
mm-hmm.
times, so that's kind of. Uh, but part of me really respects the fact that they have stuck to their guns of never mentioning ever anything from Cars 2 ever again. Like, I don't know, throw in like the like Smokey or something, from Cars 3 or the
Yeah.
Rusty's guys or anyone.
Like,
Jackson Storm, Chick Hicks would have been a fun little, like even a cameo almost of them on the news or something. But no,
it's just real weird. Because I want to say that maybe we could put in just one or two characters from Cars 2, but who would you put in? If you had to choose one person from Cars 2, who would you put in this show?
my first instincts are obviously the two spies, Holly and Finn.
But then it's just a spy movie.
Then it's just a spy movie. I think Holly could maybe work as Mater's date to the wedding.
I would
She,
like that so much.
yeah, she just maybe flies in for that and then doesn't really do much more spy stuff. But she could have worked. She could have worked well. And yeah, Finn would have been a lot. But because Finn's kind of just a lot. Also, they're not getting Michael Caine.
Yeah, they're not
You,
getting Michael Caine. Could they get, let's say, um, I can't even remember his name. Is it Bernoulli?
oh, the Italian
Mm-hmm.
jerk.
The Italian jerk.
Yeah, they could have gotten him. I don't know how much sense it would have made to have him there, but he could have been there. And like, I don't know, it would have been fun. It would have been fun.
It
Like,
would have been fun and it would have been nice and it should have happened. They should have had someone from any of the movies other than just Radiator Springs and then
Bruce. Oh, 2.5 stars out of 5.
all right. All right. I would say 3 out of 5. Would watch again, I guess.
Yeah, I'll bump it up to, I don't know, why not? 2.8. It is above average. Just
I would
barely.
say it's above average. It's not the best movie, not the best show, not the best short. It's a pretty good series, but that's probably it.
But boy, are we excited to talk about it. And I'll say we'll probably come back to like take off our podcaster hats a few more times and give it genuine critiques, but I'd
Mhm.
say we've probably got most of that out of our system. So the next 9 weeks are gonna be a non-stop thrill ride where we just theorize about some nonsense.
Mm-hmm. Starting, of course, with an episode in which everyone collectively forgot an important detail that is reestablished and then drives the entire show.
And dinosaurs are there. So that's the end of this one. Next week, we will be taking a look at the first episode of Cars on the Road entitled Dinosaur Park. We strongly encourage you to watch along with us, keep it fresh in your mind for next week. And we even more strongly encourage you, guys, I was impassioned last week. I I got down on my knees figuratively and begged you to send us thoughts about Cars on the Road. And folks, not many of you have done that. And that's okay. No, everyone makes mistakes. But now that we've done our general thoughts, we really need them for the episode specific episodes. Because there's so much to get into, but these are, 8-minute long episodes we're going to be talking about for an hour. So we could use a bit of assistance. And if you want to send us your thoughts, we really need them for Dinosaur Park, the first episode. But if you want to send them for any episode, you can do so at our email account, which is thekachat@gmail.com, or you tweet them at us and give us a follow on Twitter, which at thekachat. Now John does his part.
Remember to like, comment, subscribe, tell anyone and everyone you think might be the least bit interested in this kooky, quirky, strange little podcast. And until next time, remember to float like a Cadillac.
And sting like a beamer.